Okay, thanks, and good morning everybody. I think I'll probably start at the beginning of my journey, I guess, in terms of Into Headship and the development around it. As Gillian said, SCEL began its life in September 2014. I started at SCEL in February 2015, and in fact my first engagement on the Into Headship development was actually before I officially started as a member of the team. And so I came into the process really without any history or baggage, I think, maybe around what had gone before, which was a good thing and a bad thing. So maybe just explore some of that as well, about the challenges of working in terms of partnership. But the development really around the new programme started at that stage at the very end of January 2015. So as we've already outlined, both Gillian and David were talking about the kind of ambitious timescale, I think, around not just the development of it, but at the actual delivery and engagement. So there's quite a lot to keep in balance and in check over that short period of time. So we started the development at the very end of January. The programme actually started in its delivery in the September of 2015. So very short timescale in terms of that inception right through to recruitment and delivery of the initial cohort. I think, as Gillian said, one of the core principles that we tried to establish within SCEL at the very start was that we would work on or aim to work on a very collaborative process. And having said that, there was a lot of that collaboration already in place to build upon. There's been reference already to the previous programmes, which were the Scottish Qualification for Headship and the Flexible Routes to Headship. They were designed and developed and delivered in partnership across the system, whether with universities or local authorities, and also with the government involved in terms of funding some of those approaches. So there was a good basis to build on, I think, in terms of collaboration. But I think there was some discussion and debate about the need for a new qualification and the timing around that, what the qualification would look like. So although there was, I think, a will to engage and develop, there was quite a difference of opinion about what the next steps should be and how that development should move forward. So we started off with a group which was pretty diverse, actually, I think, around the table, and one of the core principles we wanted to establish was that everybody would be in the room. So everyone who had something to gain or something to add were around the table at the very start of that process. So we had 5 universities involved, and the 5 universities who were there at the very start of the development were those who had already delivered the previous qualification, so those who delivered the SQH in the past. Engagement with all of those partners. We also had partners at the table who had delivered the flexible routes to headship, so that with local authorities and Education Scotland were the main deliverers around that. We also had involvement from the General Teaching Council for Scotland, because one of the aims of the programme was that it would be a qualification programme that would not only award a master's level certificate at the end of it, but would also enable the award of the standard for headship. So the alignment of the qualification, the programme, with the standards were crucial. So that's where we had the involvement of the General Teaching Council. And also the General Teaching Council accredits the programmes that award the standard for headship, so it was really important that they were around the table at the very start. So we had a pretty big table, as you can imagine, with all those folks around it, with lots of different perspectives on the direction of travel. So we tried to establish some core principles at the start of that process, which were around what were we aiming to achieve with the programme, and what could we all agree on were the necessities around it. So some of the core principles were that it should be practice-based, it should focus on strategic leadership, it should be about engagement with the profession rather than the doing to, it should be at level 11, it should be collaborative in approach, and also allow reflection and growth for participants who were on the programme. And I think that reflects some of the points that David was making about the pressure, if you like, on what's included in Into Headship. So have we got this, have we got that? Our basis in developing the programme was that it wasn't a content-heavy programme, it was about strategic leadership, and it was about reflection and growth of the participants. in their strategic leadership, so their growth as a strategic leader. That was some of the basis of the development, I think. Our approach was to try and agree a national programme. So that, and a national programme that could be delivered regionally and locally. And that was, again, was building on previous practice, excuse me, where there were local authority and university partnerships in place. So again, those relationships were pretty strong, had built up over time. So there was a good basis to build on there, but we recognised that we could do more to support that, a better understanding, I think, nationally of what was required for headship preparation, how that might be delivered, but also allowing regional and local contextualisation of the programme. And in recognition also about the expertise that sits within each of the different universities. So a programme that allows a bit of flex and expertise from the individual partners to be more evidenced within the delivery of the programme. We've alluded to SQH and FRH. Some people were wedded to those as really good and strong approaches. Others felt actually there was a need for change. The landscape had changed and shifted, as Gillian said, pretty firmly that landscape was changing, or the need for change was identified. And the Johnson Review, I think, added extra impetus to that, so there was a direction of travel around change. But there were still some, I think, who were wedded to, we want the flexible routes, we want SQH, there's no need for a qualification, I think, so some of the tensions around that were quite evident. Some of that comes from local authorities, but also some of it from university partners that said, we've got the programme established, there's no need to change it. So some of those tensions we had to work through. So we had regular meetings in place where all the partners discussed and developed the approach. But I think starting from that first principles approach of what are the intended outcomes, what we're trying to achieve, was helpful. So we had that understanding from the start. So the principles in the programme, or the intended outcomes, were that our heads would be much better prepared to have confidence in their headship role. And so we focused very much on strategic leadership, engagement and critical understanding of policy and research. So the developing criticality in aspiring heads and in heads was one of the core aspects of the programme. Having a focus on whole school leadership, so what's it like to lead across a whole school, and not just within the school but that whole school community, because again, as David was saying, there's a huge emphasis now on the attainment challenge, recognition that actually that doesn't lie just within the school in terms of attainment and advancing community, if you like, across the country. That's about engaging much more with stakeholders and partners. So again, there's core elements of that built into the programme. Leadership of change is a core strand, but a crucial element really is about building in much greater understanding around values and authenticity. So we were aiming to ensure that we had diversity not just in approach and delivery, but also understanding about the diversity of head teachers. So we've got 2,500 schools in Scotland. We know that those 2,500 schools are going to need different things from the head teachers, different things from the teaching staff, different things from their partners. So we needed to have a qualification that allowed and valued that difference, but also there were some national parameters around what we were looking for in terms of heads. So we developing their confidence, but developing their confidence to be themselves, as well as developing their confidence and understanding the policy context and understanding research and literature and the key role that plays in decision making. I think the role that SCEL had was I think quite crucial. We played a role, I think, in terms of driving change and leading change, but we also played a bit of a role of mediator at times, I think, because 5 universities round the table can be quite interesting. Everybody's bringing lots of different perspectives and expertise in there, and wanting to have something moving forward in the direction of travel that might suit their institution. And we know that universities do things in a variety of different ways. There's different procedures, different processes, different routes to having programmes approved within universities. So we had all of that to juggle. And if you look at where we got to in terms of the timescale, what we were working towards the timescale, that presented lots of challenges for universities too, to manage that. So we were very heavily reliant on the relationships around that table to make things happen. So we needed people to agree things in the room, but not just agree things in the room, but take it forward and actually make it happen in their own institutions. That was not an easy task for many people around the table there. So some tensions there too at times. We also had a mediation role, I think, with the government at times, because we knew that we wanted to get things moving. We knew there were tensions about funding. David alluded to the public purse aspect. So lots of things that we had to keep in our heads around how were we communicating things, not just in that room, but also to partners outside of the room and also the wider public. What were we trying to build? How were we using that public money? There's high expectations on head teachers, absolutely rightly, across the community. How do we ensure that the community, local authorities are aware of what we're building, what were the opportunities we were trying to establish? So I think crucial roles, I think, for us, the tensions were very evident, I think, at times, the funding, as David alluded to. And to be honest, there's still some tensions around that. The first cohort, some people still are holding on to the fact that they paid money to be part of that first cohort, other cohorts didn't. So there's some things there still kind of inbuilt into that group, and maybe Linda can maybe attest to some of that. Maybe I'll stop there. Is that enough?
Any immediate questions?